working on the jacket now, and, well, the robe, I guess that's what you would call it. Well, I literally have a king-size sheet right here on the floor, goes all the way to over there, and I laid my Dante jacket on it because my Dante jacket is the perfect length for what I need, so it's going to be the perfect template. Of course, if you don't have this, you can find a regular jacket and measure how far it takes you down to your ankles. And we're looking for a baggy look, so try to find a baggy-ish jacket. But to prove to y'all that I did buy this sheet from Goodwill, hey, that's literally the tag I just took off of it. It's literally a king-size sheet for $1.99. So I figured this right here, I would suggest you trace it and then cut it out. I'm just going to cut it straight out because I don't have anything to trace it with, and since it's white, I don't want it to transfer on accident. So therefore, I'm just going to cut at least ½ inch, maybe a little more around it, because the baggier, the better, because that's what you're shooting for in this look. And yeah, we're just going to cut that part out. So here we go. Also, don't forget to cut out where your armholes are going to be. That is important. So I'm going to move the jacket. This is what you should end up with. I'm going to put it on my back. Alright, this goes to here, which it's going to be tattered. So that works out. So yeah, looks good. Alright, now we're going to make the front sides. I'll get back to you once I refold up the fabric for the front sides. Okay, I folded the sheet in half, and I put one side of the Dante jacket on there. I am going to go a little past on the front, like a good few extra inches, just to be safe, since, you know, this is going to be covering the boobies. I want to make sure it covers them. So we're going to go a little outward and go down a slight angle and give it a couple extra inches as well. And also don't forget the armhole. It's basically the same thing. We're just cutting it out twice. And, well, we're cutting it once, but getting two pieces, if that makes sense. Okay, here we go. Okay, now we remove the jacket. And you should have two front pieces. This looks like it's going to be baggy enough. So we're good, I think. Okay, now we're copying the arms. How I'm doing this is there's a hemmed edge where the tag is at that you can see. So I figured, well heck, if that's already hemmed, we might as well just use that for the bottom of the sleeves, right? Might as well. So the sleeves are supposed to be a little baggy on her, because whenever she has her arms to the side, it's baggy on the inside but not the outside. So I put it up on the fold because it's folded, and that way we only have to create one seam. So I'm going to give it a hefty seam allowance like I did earlier for the baggage. So yeah, we'll give it about the same arm length hole. I'm thinking we're just going to make it go baggier and baggier and baggier as it goes down, basically. Or at least that's the idea. So it's okay if it ruffles up, that's kind of the point, so it's okay if it's baggy, because that's what we're doing. So yeah, now to cut it. This is one sleeve. There's the hand. It's inside out, but when we turn it right side out, and it's okay if it goes up because we want it to, might help if I adjust the camera. Okay, I'm trying to, there you go. When we turn it right side out, this is what it's going to look like. And when we sew it up, that's where it's going to land. And this is perfect length right here at the wrist because that's how far hers goes. Of course, with the shoulders on, it might go to here, but that's perfectly fine. So now, we're going to cut the opposite arm. So, which this one actually feels like Yeah, this actually feels better on this arm. So this is my right arm. There is a difference, I promise. So now, we're going to put the fabric down again and just retrace this out. And that's how you make a sleeve. It's pretty simple. So just repeat the same step that we just did. We have our back piece that we cut out. I folded, this is the type of material that goes under the mattress. It's the dust cover. And I'm using the netted material from it because it looks like the netted material she has on her jacket. And proof y'all, I bought it from Goodwill, and that's what it is. Here you go. Here's the tag. Pretty cheap. Pretty cool. I folded it in half on the wrong side. And what I'm thinking, this is going to turn out okay. We're going to cut it on the fold like that. And yeah, we're basically going to use as much of this as possible for the arms, the front, and this. So all we're doing now is just cutting out the netted material. You're literally just copying everything over. The sleeves I would put on a fold again just like we did before. And with the back I would put it on a fold. You don't have to on the front pieces though. But yeah, this is what we're doing now. Let's cut. Here is all of our pieces lined up on the back of my new couch, by the way. We're going to pin all these together, like not all of it together, but the netted material to the regular material, and I'll get back to you after I pin it. Now that we got it all pinned, I got some more pinned over there and one sleeve pinned. So once you get all that netting pinned on top of the normal fabric, you're going to top stitch it together. And I would suggest using a tight zigzag stitch. That way it looks nice and neat. And then just cut off the excess after you sew all of that together. So, like I said, just top stitch the netting to the cotton. And yeah, zigzag stitch, cut the excess. Okay, I don't know if y'all can see this very well. Hopefully my camera chooses to focus. Come on. Do you see that netted looking stuff? Y'all can see it a little bit in the camera. But I have it sewn to the sheet. See, there's the wrong side of the fabric. So now we're going to pin the front sides of the robe to the back side. And I would suggest we do shoulders first, because that's really going to help align it to the rest of the jacket, I believe, because I believe that's what I would normally start on first. So let's go ahead and pin it on the shoulders. I'll try to zoom in so y'all can see. We have the shoulders pinned because we're going to sew right along the shoulders. I measured about where I want it to land, but I won't know till I actually try it on. And then on the sides, I went ahead and pinned it on the sides. I used the sleeves and used it as a marker of about where the holes will end up being. So that's what I did for that, which that will be a hit or a miss depending on how the shoulders go and things like that, because it's not laying flat like it's supposed to. But that happens sometimes, but it's okay. And then we have, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and zigzag stitch all of that. And also, I went ahead and pinned down the sleeves, because we're going to go ahead and just stitch that too while we're at it. And I'll get back to you after I stitch all this and try it on. Okay, this is what we got so far. And it goes down right to where I need it. Same with the other side. Here's the back. I'm standing on my tippy toes, so. But yeah, this is where we're at. This is what it looks like. Yeah! So now we're going to add the sleeves, which I have a quick, easy way method to add the sleeves. what you do, you have the jacket inside out and have your sleeve right side out. Whoop. And then you stick it through the hole and pin it. And when you flip it out, it'll be the correct way in. So now we're going to add the sleeves. I'll show you what I'm doing down here. That way y'all can see how I'm doing it for sure. Alright, let's go. Now you sew a zigzag stitch on each hole. And see, the sleeve is inside of here. That way when we turn it right side out, we're good. The best thing for you to determine your sleeve, it's going to be gathered a little because we made it a little poofy. That's kind of the point. You want to line up the seam to the seam. Basically your armpit seam to your side seam, like down here. Don't put it up on the shoulder. You want to put it down here, that way it kind of hides and blends. So, once you zigzag stitch this, you're good. And the reason why we're zigzagging stitch this is because this fabric frays real easily. Because you got to remember, it is a bed sheet and some cheap netting. So it does fray easily, but this will keep it from fraying as much. Alright, we got the sleeves on. Now I feel like I'm wearing a lab coat. And I went ahead and rolled hem the sleeves, so that way they were done. It's just a simple roll hem. But I'm going to show you how to do that with this, because we're just going to roll hem this. We're not going to roll hem the bottom, because she has very jagged looking stuff. So, yeah, but I'll get to that in a minute. But first off, we need to get rid of these flappies, because they're not helping the reveal case. So, adjust y'all. I want it, I'm thinking like this. Like just a straight up line here, and we're just going to copy it to this side. So, I got some pins. I'm going to pin right here. And try to make it as straight as possible. This would be easier on my mannequin, but I wanted to show y'all how I'm doing this. So, and then I'm gonna go right here. Because like I said, we'll be roll hemming, so I don't want to cut too much off, but this triangle's gotta go. But I want it to still be a smooth transition. Which, thinking to right here. Yeah. See that? Where I pinned it, one on the bottom, one on the top. We could put one in the middle just for a guideline, but just keep your scissors straight as you cut through here. And then when we hem it, like here, I'll pretend this piece is gone. Because with Dante, I needed these triangle pieces, but with this piece, I do not. Okay. Let me fold it in like that. I'm already burning up in this thing. Okay, this is about how it would look. And whenever we roll hem it, it would go out to like right here, which we're going to be wearing a bra piece underneath, so it'll be okay. So yeah, that's about where it's going to sit, and then this is just going to naturally roll, because it does have that look, that C-looking shape to curve around the boob. So cutting just this little bit of a triangle off where the pins are will be perfect. And what we can do is hold them up next to each other and just cut at the same time. Make sense? And what I'll do is I'll clip these together so they don't move anywhere when I cut them. Alright, I'm going to show you that on the floor, because it's easier to cut on the floor than on myself. I don't know if y'all can see this well, but I went ahead and pinned, well, I used clips and pinned off that triangle. So now we're just going to cut right next to the pin. Now cut slow, take your time, ain't no rush. You don't want to accidentally mess it up. There we go. And see, like right here, there was a little bit of a raised edge, so I'm just going to go straight across, cut that off. And there. They should be exactly the same. That's how you cut off the corner. Alright, now I'm going to roll hem this, pin it, and then sew it. And in case you don't know how to do a rolled pin, I'll show you right quick, because it's really simple. Like I said, we're not doing the bottom of the coat, we're just doing the top and the sides. Where the neck is, and yeah. You just literally do that. You know, like how you fold it down to hem once? Well, for this type of fabric, you want to double hem it. Like that. It's called a rolled hem. You do it twice instead of once. You fold over the fabric twice. And this creates a nice, beautiful hem look, but keeps it from like fraying every which way. Which on the bottom, it's okay if it ends up fraying, because that's the bottom, you know. So I'm going to go through, I'll show y'all after I pin it, but there's no point in recording it because this is literally what I'm doing. So, roll hem, the neck area and the shoulders, and the sides. So, basically this whole entire opening. Do not do the bottom yet, because we're going to adjust the bottom first before we go on to that. Okay, I did around the shoulders and down here. It's all rolled in. You see that there's none on the bottom. That's because we're not doing that. So now let's do a close zigzag stitch to it, and this portion of it will be done. Okay, this is what, I'm trying to back up so you can see. This is what it looks like. This is where it'll lay. There it is down there. Now I'll come closer. So as you can see, it's a rolled hem all the way through. It looks very nice on the other side. So yeah, and this is exactly where I want it to sit, because I don't want it to show too much. Even though the hood is supposed to cover it through here, I'm not guaranteed that will happen. So this is perfect for my size. So, and since this is bigger, it complements me more because it looks flowy, and you know, this will always stay here, and as I walk around, or if I do a big swoosh, you know. So that's what it looks like. I just need to, and see when I walk, it flaps out. I just need to figure out how I'm going to keep it there. That's the next question, but that's another day. Now, the reason why I said not to hem the bottom is because in our reference pictures, I'm going to pull this up if it'll let me. Alright, let me get to them. Okay. The bottom has this really scraggly look. Like, see, we got the perfect thing going on everywhere else, but it has like a jagged zigzag. You see what I mean? Like jagged edges. This is why I said don't bother hemming the bottom, because what we're going to do is we're going to cut this design, like you're just haphazarding it. You don't have to do the exact design. With my OCD, I'm going to attempt to copy it, but if you screw up, it's okay. You don't have to. And yeah. Once we do that, we're going to clamp the two pieces together again, because that means this net piece will come apart from the bottom. So that means we are going to have to at least stitch the netting back to this. But don't worry about hemming it at all, because it's okay if it falls apart. It's supposed to look nasty and gross, as you can see. So this is what we're doing next. Like before, like I said before, I'm going to follow the reference picture as close as I can, but that's because that's my OCD. But I'm laying this the correct direct side up, because once we start cutting this netting is going to try to go everywhere. So as I do a side, before I flip it to the back, like I'm going to do these sides first, but before I flip it to the back, I'm going to pin it. So I'm going to continue this, and you'll see me doing that before I flip it over. We got the front done and all tattered the best I could tatter it, because I'm trying not to make it seem symmetrical. Although with my OCD it's kind of hard, but it's okay. We just need it to look torn up at the bottom. That's kind of the point. Alright, now we're going to flip this over and do the same thing to the back. I found that it's easier to just pin as you go, because otherwise this netting, woo, the shirt jumped. Otherwise the netting is just going to get everywhere. So, of course, mine doesn't look exactly like hers, but as far as down there goes, I'm trying to mock it the best I can, but this is kind of your own creative flair. So, now, continue doing the same thing we did to the front. We got the bottom all tattered up. I try to get it as random as possible, but it is what it is. Okay, now that we got the bottom all tattered, she has some holes. Like she has one right here on the back, and then she's got another one, like I'm gonna go ahead, like it's about right here, and she's got another one over here. And the other one's more towards the front. Is that the only three? Yeah. At least from what I can tell. Right there. There's only 3 big holes that we also need to stitch as well. Because they're going to matter when it comes to us painting. So, you got 2 in the back, 1 right here. It's about right here, and it's a really big one. And you got a small one about right here. Well, I'd say it's more right there. And then we got another one. It's like on the side-ish, I'd say about right here. So, I'm going to cut that, pin around the hole, and yeah. The one on this side, it's a decent hole. Then I cut a hole here and here. Because she, like I said, from what I can tell from the picture, she only has 3 really big holes towards the bottom. Which when I added them, it actually really helped the look. It looks a lot better. So, I personally think. Okay. I'll bring it up close so y'all can see it better. What I got going on. Oh, like I said, just pin it as you go. Okay. Here's what it looks like on the bottom. Like I said, it looks very tattered, worn in. But since we do have that mesh lining, now we need to go in and zigzag stitch all of this, including the big holes. So that way we don't accidentally lose the actual fabric. So we want to do that. We'll be hiding it all later, but this is just for now. Especially since we need to throw it in the washer next. So zigzag stitch, top stitch it all together like we did before. And then I'll get back to you after I did that. I'm wearing it, obviously. This literally took me 45 minutes to sew. So, just to warn y'all, take your time with it. But it looks really, really nice. And I'll give y'all a closer, like, see? Where it's stitched. But we don't have to make it completely neat. because we want it to look torn and worn out. This is just to help it along the way. So, and I even did the holes. See? Now we're going to throw this into the washer. Not with the pants, but, you know, also the pants. We're going to wash it with some clear detergent that doesn't have any fabric dyes or anything like that. Like, no fabric softener, no smelly stuff, nothing. I use baby detergent personally, but we're basically going to wash all this. We're going to wash it in hot water, get it all nice and all the finishings off of it, you know, especially since this was thrifted bed sheets and stuff. So we're going to get all that off and get it ready for painting. I went ahead, threw this in the washer, got it all washed. Alright, I made 3 marks with clips where we're going to need to paint it because it goes from a red to a brown to a cream. Alright, as far as the jacket ombre effect goes. So, right here is where I'm going to stop for the cream. I'll have to back up pretty far so y'all can see. Actually, I'll just pull it up. That might make it easier. Alright, down here, from the bottom all the way to the top of my knee is going to be red. All of this, we're going to paint all of it, front and back. Alright, and then from the top of my knee to right below my butt, basically, is going to be the brown. On both sides, okay? And then from here, all the way from the bottom of my butt to my belly button is going to be the cream color. And then we're just going to slowly ombre it out. Kind of feather it out. So those are the 3 marks. And from here, it's going to be that cream looking color. From here all the way up to your elbow. Make sense? And these are the colors that I'm using. I'm going to use a big brush. I'm thinking about just using the same brush throughout because I'm going to kind of mesh it together towards the middle. That way it does a nice little ombre effect. For the red, I'm using the Slick Deep Red, the Tulip. Then I'm using the dark brown for the brown. It's the only one I had. I would recommend using fabric paint. Actually, this would be even better if you could dip dye it. That would be your best solution, but I don't have the dyes, so this is what I'm doing. And then for the cream color, I'm using simply acrylic cream. So these are the colors that I'm going to be using, and we're going to go like that. So yeah, now we just paint away. I am not going to keep the full painting thing in here. I'll stop and show you in between each thing. So to start with, we're going to do the red. And we're just going to do a piece at a time. Okay, I currently have my coat outside. Ignore the table, I haven't put stuff up yet. I use this Color Shot Red. This brown cafe color shot. And this beige that I found. But you want a lot of this. Alright, and I did an ombre effect. Goes from red, brown, to tan. And I did tan on the sleeves. Hopefully y'all can see that. I know this is horrible lighting, but this ain't the best camera either. And you want to only have it go halfway up the elbow. The rest of it needs to be white. I know it looks like there's a lot of white on our costume, but that's because we're adding it over this. And just a little story time. I have pieces of fabric that are cut out because my daughter, my youngest, decided to get a hold of my jacket while it was sitting out in the living room, and she kind of added her own flair to it by making this big, huge spot over there with cream paint, and she made a mess. And here's the back, so y'all can see it ombreing out. So, but it was able to be fixable except for right there. I could not save that. But yeah, and once all of this is dry, you're going to want to do the same thing to the inside. You want to do the red, the brown, and then the beige. because she has it going on the inside too, so make sure you do the inside as well. So yeah, now I'm just hanging it out here and letting it dry. It's 50 degrees, so hopefully it doesn't dry tacky or anything, but this stuff stinks, so I did not want to bring it inside. So, wish me luck. Okay, here is the jacket. I used E6000 and attached this crocheted tabletop to it. I didn't cut the bottom. I'm just letting it hang because I didn't attach it because I figured it can flow and move as I move because I want that moving effect she has. So I have it all pinned on here because I use the E6000. It takes 24 hours. And let me see if a piece of it... No, it's on there. So it should stay on there pretty good. I did it to the sleeves as well. So this is what it looks like. The sleeves are kind of haphazardly on, so hopefully they'll stay on because I didn't have any pins. I ran out. So hopefully they'll stay, but since this fabric doesn't stretch, it should be fine. And then I did the same thing that I did with the pants and used a silver shimmer and some white and did that crochet looking look in here. It doesn't show up as much, but it gives it more of a dirty look on the inside to where it kind of blends in, I think, personally. So, yeah, that's what I did last night. Sorry I didn't record it. It was literally just me gluing this fabric to it and pinning it. So, that's literally all I did. Then I literally just now sprayed it, which I really shouldn't be touching it. But, yep, this is where we're at now. I'm gonna, like I said, the E6000 takes 24 hours for it to fully cure. So, I'm going to pull out these pins probably this afternoon before I put the diamond spritz on it. And hopefully it holds up, fingers crossed. So, yeah, because the convention's tomorrow and I really don't have time to sew all of this. That, and it won't move the way I want if I do sew it. That's why we're going the gluing route. So, yeah. And here, I'll give you a back side of it. See? It looks nice and webbed and gross, and for some reason that pin is attached. There we go. That looks better. But there it is. It looks really awesome. I really love this jacket. I'm so proud of it. And here's the other sleeve. This one seems to have stayed on a lot better. And like I said, I just left it loose because I want this to move while I'm moving. Because see, look, watch. You see how the fabric moves on the inside? It'll make the stuff look like it's alive. Ah, here, the wind's blowing. Perfect. But you see how it's moving? My camera's not really picking it. There it goes. See? And that's what it'll look like when I walk. Which is perfect. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Here is the coat. I spritzed it with fabric spray paint, the glittering diamond glitter. And it takes 4 hours to fully cure, so it's not going to show up till later. I took out the pins and tested it. I will have to go through and zigzag stitch it to the actual coat. So I'm not going to take out the bobby pins till I go to do that. I'm still going to leave the bottom alone, I believe. I don't think I'm going to stitch that. So, yeah, that's what's going on. I did about 2 layers of this. And yeah, I'm gonna, like I said, I'll zigzag stitch it on there and then we'll do a test fit and show you what it looks like. So, once it's all sewn up. Alright, see y'all later. Alright, the E6000 worked. All the pins are out. We're shaky, 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 shaky. And we're still together. Just be careful when sitting on it. Uh-oh, my battery's on. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, ring that bell, and happy cosplaying! I got it before it shut off.